In this video, we're going to talk about completing the square because it's the necessary step to go from general form to standard form. So first of all, recall or remember, if you have x plus 3 quantity squared, this would be not x squared, but this would be x plus 3 in parentheses times x plus 3. So when we do FOIL, we get x squared plus 6x plus 9. So I want you to notice that this 9 comes from 3 squared down there. Completing the square means I'm going to have to put a 9 there so that it factors into two parentheses that match and it becomes squared. So let's say we have x squared plus 10x. Let's back up. We're going to take half of this 6 to be 3 and then square that to be 9. So we're going to do half times the number in the middle, which is b, and then square that value. So here, when we take half of this middle number, we're going to take half of positive 10 to be 5, and then we're going to square that to be 25. Now you can always check and make sure that it factors into x plus 5, which is x plus 5 quantity squared. By the way, notice that half of b goes right into both of these spots, and therefore it becomes that same number here. So let's look at the other one. It says x squared minus 14x plus something. Now, again, we're going to take half of this b. Let me circle it, including the x, because remember it comes from that term. So half of negative 14, and then we're going to square it. So half of negative 14 is negative 7, squared is 49. This number right here is always a positive because a number times itself is always positive. Now this factors into x minus 7, which is x minus 7 squared. Notice that this number is negative 7, and it's the number that ties into these spots. So let's look at one more. Let's say m squared minus 24m. So pause a minute, fill in the blank, and factor it out. All right, so we're going to take half of the middle term, so half of negative 24 squared. Half of negative 24 is negative 12 squared. So negative 12 times negative 12. Oh, negative 12 times negative 12 is positive 144. And this factors into m minus 12 times m minus 12, which is m minus 12 squared. Well, what happens if they're not whole numbers, you ask? Good question. So let's say that we have k squared plus 7k plus some number. Now there's two options here. We're still going to take half of 7 and square it. So that's 7 over 2 squared, which is 49 over 4. So this becomes 49 over 4, which is k plus 7 over 2 times k plus 7 over 2. You can call that k plus 7 over 2 quantity squared. Our goal is to complete the square to come up with that squared term. You can see how that'll be helpful in finding our center in circles. So that's easy to see. Now, the other thing I would say is sometimes your professor, I wouldn't mind, doesn't mind if you have decimals. So if you take half times 7 squared, this is 3.5 squared, which is 12.25. You can check that on the calculator, that is correct. So we have 12.25 here, and it factors into k plus 3.5 times k plus 3.5 quantity squared. Oh, no squared there. Sorry about that. Two of them, and that becomes k plus 3.5 quantity squared. And I hope that makes sense, and I hope you have a great day.